Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing whether or not Xabi Alonso will succeed as the new manager of Chelsea. But before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes along with helping me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 319 subscribers, and I just want to say a massive thank you for your recent support on our most recent episodes, all the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely is going notice. I just want to say a massive thank you, really, for the overall support. But let's get straight into the episode, shall we? Now, Chelsea have recently appointed Xabi Alonso as a new manager of the club, and for me, I do like this managerial appointment just because he's got a wealth of experience at Bayer Leverkusen. He was doing some fantastic things, wasn't he? You know, he went invincible, didn't he? He had an unbeatable season at Bayer Leverkusen, won the league in the Bundesliga a few seasons ago, got their team playing absolutely amazing football, didn't they? With 3-5-2 formation. It was absolutely amazing. You know, the fullbacks bombing on, in Jeremy Frimpong, in Garvaldial as well. The Spanish left back, probably said his name wrong. But, he had some fantastic players, Flivian Wirtz as well at the club. Absolutely amazing stuff. And then obviously got his big money move to Real Madrid. And for me, even though he did get fired and he sort of did, there were rumours of him losing the dressing room, I still feel like he did an underrated job just because he had a fantastic record at Real Madrid. When you look at when you look at some of his stats, okay, you got to think to yourself, he managed 34 matches, okay, won 24, drew 4, and lost 6. So even though a lot of the fans weren't really taken to his philosophy, his style of play. Potentially, for me, I still feel like I still believe Xabi Alonso is a good manager and a good fit for Chelsea Football Club because he did get Real Madrid playing at a certain time for a certain while. It was only the last couple of weeks where it was starting to fizzle out. The players weren't respecting him, weren't really playing for the badge, weren't really playing for him either. And for me, when we think about managers of recent times, there has been quite a few that have failed at Real Madrid. It's a hard job to go into, so it does take some guts to step into that gig straight away in your managerial career, if you like, after a few seasons, of course, at Bayer Leverkusen. So for me, I don't really want to settle out as a failure for Xabi Alonso. I feel like he's a good manager. He's a good young up and coming coach, isn't he? In world football, and he would have had a lot of different options, wouldn't he? Of course, there's always that Liverpool link because of him being a Liverpool legend, playing for Liverpool and winning all those trophies and whatnot. And you got to think to yourself, a lot of Liverpool fans now are going to be potentially, a little bit angry with this sort of move, if you like, because obviously there was a lot of links with him to Liverpool, replacing Arne Slot and whatnot, and now obviously joining Chelsea, one of their rivals. You got to think to yourself, like, why is he doing that? But for me, when you look at that Chelsea prospect, okay, when you look at the Chelsea roster, the squad, they do have they do have a good group of players. A lot of players, I might add, but they do have some good players at their disposal in the likes of Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, Reece James, Cucurella. You've got some good players in there. They've got some good players. They just need to build out a spine around those players, don't they? For me, you know, Xabi Alonso coming into that team, he'll have, I think he's starting in pre-season, okay, so he's going to come in and he's going to try and assess the players, who to keep, who to sell, and we're going to see, Xabi Alonso in pre-season potentially moving on some deadwood that don't really want to be at the club, who aren't really good enough, who doesn't really suit his system. Of course, at Bayer Leverkusen now, he's played more of a 3-5-2, 3-4-3 sort of formation. At Real Madrid, he's sort of played more of a 3-4-3. He's sort of played a more of a 4-3-3 sort of style as well. So he's interchangeable. For me, I feel like he probably will revert back to that 3-4-3 what works best at Bayer Leverkusen, just because he's got the fullbacks to do it. For me, I think Reece James and Cucurella are going to have an absolute amazing time under Xabi Alonso under the Spanish manager, okay, just because what I think he needs to go back to that Bayer Leverkusen system. They can bomb forward. They can they can bomb forward, create crosses, create chances for the forwards, for the midfielders. For me, I would like to see that. It has worked out for Chelsea in the past with Antonio Conte and all these other managers. For me, I would like to see that. you know, when we discuss, Chelsea this season, they've been absolutely awful, haven't they? So to put it politely, have been awful. just because they've had 3 managers, haven't they, this season? Enzo Maresca, Liam Rosenior, and then obviously the interim manager now, of course. They've recently just lost the FA Cup final to Man City 1-0. So it was sort of, I think it was a bit of a PR move, sort of, coming out of after the game, sort of saying never pointing Xabi Alonso, trying to cover up the fact that they've just lost, if you like. It was a little bit unfortunate. They didn't really do anything in the game, did they, against Man City? Obviously, Antonio Semenyo scoring a lovely sort of back heel goal, if you like, to sort of trick the goalkeeper. And for me, when we talk about some of the positions that they need in the summer, I think they do need, I think they need a top class goalkeeper, they need a top class centre back, and a centre midfielder, like an attacking midfielder, I would say, and probably like a left winger. 4 positions for me. 4 positions. Goalkeeper this season, Robert Sanchez, has been absolutely terrible, hasn't he, from start to finish since he's joined the club? Really, he's had off and on spells. He's had on and off spells, hasn't he? Really, Robert Sanchez. There's a few weeks where he's consistent. He pulls out some decent saves here and there. He keeps a clean sheet and whatnot. But overall, he's not. He just hasn't fit. He doesn't suit that system. He's made some absolute clangers. He don't know. I don't know why, but a lot of times he just makes a lot of mistakes. I don't understand it. For me, they need a top centre back as well to provide that leadership, to provide that solidity in the back, and to sort of control the back four, if you like, to control the midfield as well. They need probably another attacking midfielder, because that's probably what they're missing. Enzo Fernandez has sort of filled that role at times, but for me, he's more of a number 8 position midfielder. You've got Caicedo, CDM position. They probably need like an attacking midfielder in there to sort of bomb on and create those chances for the wingers and for the strikers and whatnot. And then finally, left winger. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like any of their left wingers. Obviously they've got Garnacho. He's very hit and miss. I don't really like his attitude. He scores worldies, doesn't he? But for me, I feel like he thinks he's bigger than he actually is, and that's one thing I just don't like in a player. Don't get me wrong. He's good at dribbling. He's good at scoring a few goals here and there. But again, the consistency isn't there with the player. I don't know if Xabi Alonso will like that. I feel like that's probably a player I'll look at to try and get rid of in the team in the summer transfer window. You never know. He's only been here for 1 season, but again, it's just not good enough. And then who else you got in that left wing position? You got Gittins as well. Obviously, that player from Borussia Dortmund. Again, he hasn't really done anything this season. He's not really proved himself. He's not really came and he's not really had a bright spark, has he? He's not really done anything. He's pretty much on the bench for the majority of the season, hasn't he, Gittins? So maybe he might look into to sort of bring him off the bench, and he might be an option. He's still quite young, isn't he? So maybe might keep him around the squad. But again, is he one to sort of have there? I'm not too sure. For me, those are the 4 positions. When we discuss about the stature and the authority that Xabi Alonso will bring to Chelsea, I feel like he needs full control of that dressing room. He needs full control of the players around him, the players that he wants to sign. That's one thing he didn't get at Real Madrid, and he's seen it. Didn't he? He's seen he's seen a disparagement where it was absolutely abysmal from start to finish. Really. It quickly went downhill at Real Madrid, didn't it? Only managing 34 games, lasting like what, 5 or 6 months, something like that. A very short amount of time for Xabi Alonso at the club. And for me, you got to think to yourself, he needs full control at Chelsea. But, otherwise, it can be another, Enzo Maresca. It can be another Liam Rosenior situation where, if it doesn't go his way, if the players don't get on board, if there's a few rumblings coming from the dressing room, it might just peter. It might peter out on the pitch, and it might go from bad to worse, or it might go from good to worse, even whatever you want to say. So, for me, I do like the appointment of Xabi Alonso. He's a very good up and coming coach in the world of football. He's had a few successes as well. Obviously, winning the Bundesliga for Bayer Leverkusen, going invincible, absolutely amazing. Doing a better job than what everybody was saying at Real Madrid, even though he only managed 34 games. I'm pretty sure when he left, Real Madrid was still second in the league, and I think they won 1 game. They had 1 win in the El Clasico and 1 loss in the El Clasico against Barcelona, their rivals. So it's not, it wasn't terrible. That's all I'm saying. Xabi Alonso's time around Madrid wasn't terrible. Did I expect them to come to Chelsea? Probably not. I probably would have thought like a Cesc Fabregas or someone like that was going to come in ahead of him because obviously he's played for the club and he's probably more of a Chelsea legend and the fans can get behind him. But will the fans get behind Xabi Alonso? I would say I would like to think yes because of the aura and authority and the respect that he will bring to the club and the when the players are looking around in the dressing room, I think they'll instantly get that respect and they'll instantly feel what he wants to bring to the team rather than Liam Rosenior, who was trying a little bit too hard, some might say, just to sort of impress the players and and tactics weren't really working and whatnot. Trying a little bit too much to change the systems and all the stuff he was saying in the press conferences just all a bit weird, wasn't it? But yeah, let's just a short video today. Let them review some questions. Do you think Xabi Alonso will succeed as Chelsea's new manager? Do you think he'll come in and do a good job? Did you expect him to almost be appointed as Chelsea manager, or did you expect somebody else? How do you feel about this? Who do you feel like he'll keep, and who do you think he'll get rid of in the summer transfer window? Who will he build his squad around? What sort of players does he need to bring in the summer? Does he need a new goalkeeper, a new centre back, a midfielder, forward, blah blah blah? You get what I'm trying to say. Do you think it's a good appointment overall? And can you see Chelsea bouncing back? Just because, as well, when we quickly mention it, okay, the best thing they can hope for now is Conference League football next season because they're not getting Champions League, they're not getting Europa League, I don't think either. So it is a little bit disappointing. They've lost the cup competition in the FA Cup against Man City. So Xabi Alonso needs to get Champions League football next season. So he needs the full control of the team to get the backing to to be able to get managing right for the Champions League next season. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes along with having me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 319 subscribers. Just want to say a massive thank you because it goes along with having me build a small community. And it's absolutely fantastic. All the likes and the comments on social media doesn't go unnoticed, and it's just absolutely amazing, really, isn't it? I really do. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.